Welcome back to another episode of Obsessed by Everything Bravo. Hi. It's Meredith. I'm your host on our journey through the Real Housewives, and we are going back to the beginning of the Real Housewives franchise and watching chronologically. We are in the middle of, I think, arguably one of the best seasons of the Real Housewives of all time. That's Beverly Hills. I can't talk. it's been it's been a lot. I've been going through a lot. We're in season 2 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Today we're gonna be talking about episode 15. I hate this title. A book, a bachelorette, and a breakdown. Well, I don't even recall a book. I'm I don't know what's happening. Like I said, this one was a filler episode. I enjoyed a filler episode. I'm like looking over my notes. I don't see a book. Did I get that wrong? You know what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. We are going chronologically, but I have decided that when we are done with Beverly Hills, we are gonna veer a little bit and just like jump a little bit ahead in the timeline, and we're gonna talk about the Shaws of Sunset. I love the Shaws of Sunset. I saw Reza at BravoCon. He was trying to sell a book. I did not want to buy his book. It wasn't. He didn't have copies. It was pre-sale. I didn't want to spend $25 on his book. I did buy a book from Gertie. But yeah, I don't know. I just like the Shaws. It's very different than anything that we've seen before, even though it is in LA and we have two like kind of LA based shows, even though I do know that Orange County is not LA, but it's still Southern California. And it's outside of LA and we sometimes shoot in LA. It's very different than what we've seen, and it's very interesting. And for some people that maybe watch Traders, MJ was on Traders, and they have this new show coming out because the original Shaws got canceled, but they have this new show coming out. It's the Valley Persian style, I think. It's either Persian style or Persian edition, which I'm like, is that like a microaggression? I guess not. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just think I love the Shaws. I think it's really interesting. I like learning about new cultures. This is one of the things I do like about Bravo. It's like it's not a monoculture. They give us lots of different sort of like in-group cultures that we can learn about. And being like just a curious person, but also like really interested in like psychology, sociology, history, I love learning about all their cultures. That was actually one of the things I really enjoyed about home health, weirdly, is that you would go. I mean, I live in a city. I understand that it's in Kentucky, but I live in a city which is a large Catholic community, which also means that there's lots of Catholic charities. So lots of like refugee settlements here, and then they've been here for a long time. So when I was doing home health, I would go into all kinds of like different cultures. Like it's not just, you know, like the white suburban people that like say I'm around all the time. It was like all kinds of different cultures, like non-American cultures. And I love going in there and going in their home and just like seeing, just like, like you would know you would be in one place because of how it was decorated, or with a different culture because like how they would treat you in their home. And it was just like so interesting to me. And so when we do Shaws of Sunset, or we do, I don't even know, the Miami show that they canceled, which the Family Karma, that was like so interesting, just like a little peek into their culture, just like the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like I actually don't know that much about Italian culture. I mean, I know I've watched The Sopranos and I've seen The Godfather, but those are stereotypes. That's not reality. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to me, and I enjoy it. And just in honor of the new Shaw's show, which it's still just going to be Shaw's. I don't. They have to be joking if they think we're going to say the Valley Persian style. We're just going to call it the Shaws. It's got almost the same cast. They cut a couple of problematic people and they're adding new people. It looks really good. We saw previews obviously at BravoCon, so I'm looking forward to that. And I just wanted to just like do something a little different. So we'll have that for 2 weeks. We have this week and then 2 more weeks of Beverly Hills, and then we'll have that, and then we'll start Atlanta season 4, I think. Oh God, season 3 or season 4? Hold on. Yeah, Atlanta season 4. And I will tell you, of course, I haven't started watching those episodes. The only thing I remember about this season, the entire season, is Kim throwing a fit because she didn't want to go on the cast trip. Now, she was heavily pregnant, like 6 or 7 months pregnant at the time, and they were going to South Africa. So she shouldn't have gone on the trip. This should have been a no-brainer because, you know, just the flight, not necessarily like being in South Africa, but a pregnant woman being on that long of a flight is dangerous. You could have blood clots and things like that. And then what if something happened while she was on board and you're over the Atlantic Ocean? Like, give me a break. But there was like this big fight and everyone got mad at her for not going. And then she essentially quit the show. And then of course she got her own spinoff and, you know, she's of course never left. She was at BravoCon as well. These people, I went to a panel that she was at. These people, they just never really, like I said, once you're in the universe, you're never gone. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about a book, a bachelorette, and a breakdown. I don't recall a breakdown or a book. I just know that they had a bachelorette party. But I guess let's get into it. So we open at Villa Blanca, and Lisa's getting there, and Taylor comes in, and they're having a meal at Villa Blanca. So this is like maybe several days after the terrible party at the beach house. Lisa wasn't at that party, so she doesn't know. I mean, she's probably talked to Kyle, I'm assuming, and she seems like she talks to Camille a lot, so maybe she's talked to Camille, but she wasn't there, right? Taylor says she's stressed out from the other night. She said it was so bad. So Lisa's like, well, I heard a little bit about it, but what's going on? And Taylor's like, well, I don't remember that much because I had too much to drink and I blacked out, which I'm not proud of. But, you know, when my anxiety revs up, alcohol is the first thing I reach for. Lisa tells us when somebody says they can't remember what went down, you know there's a problem, and this looks like a cry for help. Taylor says that she got so stressed out, she felt her heart rate was racing, her palms were sweaty. And so Lisa's like, well, what were you so anxious about? And Taylor was like, I wasn't ready when I walked into the lion's den, and this whole thing with Camille, I just felt so betrayed and so blindsided when she said things she shouldn't have said. Like, if it was for me and I was Lisa, I would have been like, oh, do you mean when she said things that she said because you threw her under the bus with me? And she was just like repeating stuff that you told her because she didn't want you, she wasn't trying to get in trouble with me? You mean when you were trying to be a bitch to me? That thing that she said, that you said, and you told me, and you told Kyle, and you told her, and you told everybody, and you even told fucking Faye Resnick, and you told Dee Dee, you know what I mean? You that stuff that you were saying because nobody was going to play along with your little game to go against me. That's what you're talking about? All right. Now, she doesn't say that. That's just what I would say. What she does say is, lately it's always tears. You're always upset. You've got to put the brakes on here. Lisa says, you know, I've had my issues with Taylor, but now I feel like she needs our support. You never know when someone is going to break, and we should be there to help her. So here's one thing that I want to say. Whatever you think about Lisa, she has been the one person to always be supportive of Taylor. Now, has she talked about how she's lost a lot of weight? Yeah. Has she been annoying about it? Yes. Has she sold stories to the paparazzi or told stories to the paparazzi insinuating that Taylor and Russell's marriage was over? Maybe. We don't know. Probably. But she's the only one who's been there for Taylor. Everyone else is saying they're not sure if they believe her. And their evidence is because they're getting contradicting information. But she's like, no, I believe her. That's why I don't like Russell. That's why I think he's a little bitch. Yeah. So again, here she is saying she's going through a lot and we haven't always been best friends, but I'm going to support her. Only one. And Lisa's not going to physically restrain her. Like, I still just can't get over how physical Adrian was. And also, let's not forget that Adrian is like a black belt or some kind of shit. She studies martial arts and she's like knocking people over. Like, she could get physical if she wanted to. And for her to be pulling people and pushing people and covering Taylor's mouth, that's uncalled for. Um, so Taylor goes on and she says, I have to be true to myself, Lisa, because I've let people walk all over me. And it's almost my 40th birthday. I'm not letting it happen anymore. And if Camille can't be true, then I'm walking away. What the fuck are you talking about? Camille was being true to you. That's why she said it. Because you were being a little bitch. I don't know. It's such a weird way. It's a weird place to find myself because and that's the thing. This is the thing about Housewives is this is where real people sit because it's like, yes, Taylor is being victimized in a terrible way, but she's also spinning it and doing harm to other people. And it's like you want to be for her, but also against her. I don't know. I don't know really what that says about me. Taylor says, I find myself confiding to Lisa and I'm like, look how fast things change. And I want from here forward, I want you to notice how hard Lisa rides for Taylor going forward. Lisa says, I called Kyle and I asked her how bad it was on a scale of 1 to 10 and she said 11. Do you remember? Taylor was like, no. And Lisa says, it was bad. Taylor says, I'm just being honest. I needed my liquid courage, and it doesn't take me but like 2 glasses of wine, and I'm 3 sheets to the wind. But at the same time, Dee Dee was very volatile that evening. No, she wasn't. She didn't get volatile until you started screaming at her when everybody was outside. And I feel like, I feel like she wanted to fight Camille's fights, but we were friends. It's not like somebody else needs to fight her fight. She needed to speak to me. She's a grown woman. She was trying to speak to you. She sent you 5 text messages that you ignored. And then she gave you a long hug, told you that she cared about you when you first got there. She was waiting on you to speak to her. Like she was extending the olive branch so that you would take it and then come talk to her. Dee Dee doesn't want her friend to be villainized on the television show another year. So she was trying to get you guys to work it out. Do you see where that is? You can't see anybody else's perspective. And I get it. You're like in the middle of a shitstorm, but come on. And so Taylor continues, says, I was like, why are we talking about this? We're at a belly dancing party. Kyle did the splits. Lisa's like, of course she did. And Taylor says, I really think we need Kyle to come to Chippendales. Lisa tells us Kyle can't go to Vegas, so Pandora has invited Taylor instead. It's about time she had some fun. Thanks, that's for sure. Lisa says, I said to Pandy I was nervous about going and that now you're going, so I'm really scared. And Taylor's like, oh, you might actually have some fun. So Taylor's going on Pandora's bachelorette party. Oh, how the turntables. Okay, now we're over to Camille's. Camille and Dee Dee are drinking some wine. Brandy comes over. Camille apologizes about her party, and Brandy is like, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Camille says, looking back on Taylor's behavior, I'm shocked and disappointed at how outrageous and overboard she went. Dee Dee says, I knew as soon as Taylor walked in, she was going to be trouble. Camille says, it was something in her body. Did you see her eyes? Her eyes was glazed over. There was some kind of disconnection. Brandy says, and what's that movie where that chick's head spins? Yeah, she was really like the Exorcist that night. And I do have to say, like, Taylor really did get out of control. Like, she really was out of control. She was out of her body, I think. Like, I don't think she ever, like, she can see the footage. I don't think she ever would remember what happened. Like, she went to another level. You know how people say they see red and they just don't remember? That's how she was, but like coming from a different place. I don't know. Camille's like, she's in dire need of an exorcism that evening. Come on, Camille. If you don't want to be seen as a villain, maybe don't say villainous things. Camille tells us, I think she's got a pattern of abuse and she's having a really hard time getting out of it. Yeah. And she tells the group, I feel like I didn't say anything that everybody else already hadn't been saying to her. She's talking about the comment at the tea party. Dee Dee says, you didn't say anything she hasn't said herself. Dee Dee says, I went up to her and said, look, you're both here. Let's cut the crap. And she basically said that you were putting Kennedy in jeopardy. Camille says, that's unfortunate that she would say that, but she's putting her family in jeopardy. Dee Dee says she's putting her family in jeopardy by staying with a man who is not good to her. She's staying in this relationship not because you forced her to stay in the relationship. And Camille says, and now Taylor and Lisa are good friends when just a few weeks ago they couldn't stand one another. This whole time, Brandy is not saying anything, which is unlike her because she usually has lots of opinions and she's not afraid to say it. This conversation to me seems forced. Similarly to a lot of Camille's conversations, especially with Dee Dee, it's like Dee Dee is just around for Camille to be a sounding board to say all the things that she wants to get out. And Camille says for about a year and a half, they didn't get along. And Brandy's like, maybe Lisa's trying to take her under her wing and help her. And Camille's like, well, that's to make Lisa look like the good guy. She comes in like a hero. She's going to save the world. Dee Dee says she loves to spin it that way. Pause. So we know these conversations are happening behind closed doors. We know whatever Taylor says, Camille said 1000%. Is that true? I'm sorry. I'm messing with the armrest on my chair so I can be more comfortable. So just with this conversation that's weird and forced and Brandy's not taking a part of it, but Camille and Dee Dee are like bouncing these ideas off of each other. We know that they're having conversations about Lisa behind her back. 1000%. And we know what they're saying about her. They're saying that her ego is inflated. And they're saying that because she's the fan favorite. Same shit as Bethany. Same shit, different day. So Dee Dee continues that Taylor's going to Vegas and, but we're going on our own and I'm really excited. So we find out that, you remember how Adrienne told Lisa that she was going to be in Vegas that weekend? Well, now Adrienne has invited the other ladies. So Camille, Brandy, Dee Dee, Dana, I don't know who else, are going to Vegas with Adrienne. Now, so Adrienne really ought to thank Lisa for not having her stuff at the Palms. That way she could have her own party at the Palms and she didn't have to deal with a bunch of 25-year-olds. You know what I mean? Paul and Adrienne are going to go talk on the television show, The Doctors. I don't care. This is quite a long scene and I don't care about Paul or Adrienne. Kyle, there's a scene where Kyle and Faye are with Glenn, my favorite Glenn, the party planner, and they are looking at chandeliers because Kyle is planning the annual white party for Mauricio's birthday. And Kyle says, I feel bad that I can't make it to Pandora's bachelorette party, but I already had scheduled a photo shoot to shoot the cover of my book. And I have to plan the white party. And then Faye accidentally knocks over one of the chandeliers and it's like $750. We go to the Palms in Vegas. Adrienne sees her brother and he starts holding the hand of a Playboy bunny waitress and walking through. And Adrienne's like, why are you doing this? It's just like a random waitress. It was really icky. Like it was very icky. It was like making my skin crawl. Like you're just some random waitress dressed up like a Playboy bunny. Obviously some hot young person and she has to be nice to you because you're her boss. That's gross. Lisa goes wedding dress shopping with Pandora. Pandora wants her to get this gown and wear it. And Lisa's like, are you kidding? That looks like a wedding dress. I would look like an idiot and everybody always says my ego's out of control. So I'm just laying the groundwork for the fact that Lisa does wear like a tiara at the wedding. We go to the Palms and Camille gets sweet. We get a whole tour. Dana and Brandy arrive together. Brandy said Vegas is always fun and Kim is still moving, so she's not coming. We don't even see her. Don't even care about her this episode. Wasn't she? She hasn't been in 3 episodes. This is the 3rd episode she hasn't been in. Lisa and her crew arrive. There are Vanderpump Rules cast members here. We will see them sprinkled out. We've already seen Sheena. Sheena's not on this trip, which I thought she would be. Kristen Doty, our queen, Kristen Doty is on this trip, which is so strange to me. And a couple other like people that we know are like sprinkled in there. Apparently it's also Taylor's birthday. Now last year at the finale was Taylor's birthday party, so we're already like getting to be a year. We see a Planet Hollywood suite, and Taylor says that she's looking forward to seeing Lisa with the Chippendales. And then Lisa says she's looking forward to seeing Taylor get shagged by a chipmunk. And Lisa and Taylor have their own room, so they separate and go there, and they're hanging out. And they're starting to talk about motherhood. This part actually kind of made me tear up because Lisa was like, oh, you don't even know, the best years are yet to come. And then she was like kind of telling her to enjoy it because she was such that earlier she was thinking about Max and how when he would come home from school when he was younger, he would always just like leave his backpack by the pool, and then he'd immediately jump in the pool like right when he got home. And how she always got irritated about that backpack being by the door and like, why can't he put his backpack away? And then suddenly that backpack was never there again. And it just made her think, just like about how kids grow, and it made me sad. And then Taylor told a story about how Kennedy this morning, because it's her 40th birthday, made her 40 cupcakes. But they were all misshapen and some of them were burnt and it was sweet. And then Lisa asked the question that I was like, she made them all by herself, and then she was like, no, my assistant did it. Because that's what I would always be thinking about. Now we learn that Kyle is writing a book and they're shooting the cover. She said they approached her to write a book and that she's been working on it like, after Portia goes to bed and every day, and she's to stay up late, and it's fun and exciting, but it's a lot of pressure. And I do want to say that there is a book like, because the photo shoot is very reminiscent of when Sonia had a photo shoot, because she's like wearing a gown, but like sitting on her kitchen table. But she was taking this photo shoot, and Sonia didn't have a book. At least Kyle's writing a book. Kyle really wanted to get a hold of Kim because she wanted her to come by and support her because it's a really important day. And Farrah's like, what do you need her for? You have us, which is really sweet. There's just like more Vegas stuff. Lisa and the crew go out to dinner. Adrian and her crew have dinner in their private suite that has a bowling alley. They're wearing bandage dresses. Dana has a $1 million lollipop holder, and I can't explain it more than that. Brandy and Camille bowl, they're getting really close. And then the way that Brandy holds her hands really fascinates me. It was like the first thing I noticed when she came back, or like what her first episodes, but I cannot explain that either. I just need you to watch how she holds her hands. I can't even do it. She just holds her hands always in like a really specific way. It's fascinating to me. And they go out to a nightclub. Camille and Brandy were grinding and dancing, and I was like, nobody's going to be mad this year that Camille's doing her MTV dancing. Lisa Vanderpump, they go to Chippendales. Lisa, Pandora, and Taylor all get to go up on stage, and they do like a twerking. It's not a twerking contest because people don't know what twerking was, but they were just like dancing on a dude, and then somebody won or whatever. And Lisa says, was it embarrassing? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes. Okay. Now we go to a scene. Oh, I'm kidding. We do see Kim this episode. Here it is. Kyle is taking Estella and her kids shopping. They're all going. They're looking for something to wear to the white party. Okay. And so I guess Kathy, their sister, has some kind of vintage resale store. This was not in my memory, and I don't think this exists now. But they go shopping for something there, and so they're shopping. And Kyle ends up Kyle ends up running into Kim, and she's like, I don't want to get into this with Estella. And so they chit chat for a minute, and then Estella leaves. Um, well, first of all, Estella is like, well, Kim, what have you been doing? I haven't seen you in a while. And Kim's like, oh, I've been moving. And so Estella asks the normal question. She's like, well, where'd you move to? And Kim gets real cagey, and she's like, not that far. And it's like, can you tell us the neighborhood? Like, what the hell? Maybe you don't want to say, hey, I moved in with a guy that I've been dating for a year and you've never met him, which is weird in itself. But just like, be like, yeah, I moved to, whatever. I don't know the name of a neighborhood, my Polo Fields, whatever. So, then Estella leaves because she wants to talk to Kyle about something. So Kim's like, hey, do you have some time to chat? And then Kim says, this is harder than I thought, this move. I've been alone for so long, and I think the kids, well, Chad's cool with it, but Brooke and Kimberly are taking this so hard. So Kyle's like, well, what's going on? And Kim says, they just feel like that I don't they don't get any time with me anymore. I don't call them anymore, but I talk to her every day. And Kimberly said the other day that she's glad that I can finally live without her, but I can't. And I said to Kimberly, this is not for me to be without you. It's for us so we can start a new life. They never really like anybody that I've ever dated. And so with that whole monologue, she's just like vomiting this information. She's saying a lot of stuff, but from the most part that I can get is that her kids do not like Ken. Like they think that he's taking time away from them, which, okay, maybe he isn't, maybe he isn't. And that maybe that's something that just like a child would say, but to have all three of her daughters not like Ken, that's flying red flags for me. So Kyle is kind of confused because she's also getting hit with all this information all at once. Now, I guarantee you that her nieces have already talked to Kyle about this, and I think this is part of the reason why Kyle was so upset when Kim finally told her, because she had known a little bit and didn't have good information. So Kyle says, everybody just wants the best for you. And then Kim's like, well, really, why can't everybody be happy for me? And she's crying. And Kyle's like, well, I think they're just wondering. They just want to make sure that you're happy. And Kim's like, I'm happy. I'm happy. And Kyle's like, well, you look really thin, by the way. So then Kim breaks into tears and she's saying something that I cannot even understand. So Kyle's like, are you eating? Kim's like, I'm not. And then she's like, this is not something I chose, to be with him and lose 3 of my kids that I've spent my whole life. I gave up everything for. And all of a sudden I pick someone and I lose my kids. Forget it. And here's the thing, Kim, that should be it. Like, you should be like, 3 of my 4 children don't like you. I pick my children. That never. But this is how insidious the patriarchy is in our society, is because women feel like they have to have a man. And so they'll forego their own children to be with a shitty man. No. And to be quite honest, this is what Taylor's doing too. And Taylor has a lot of other issues, and I get that. But if she was really, really, really there for Kennedy, and she would have left that man after the first season, because at that point, she would have had the support and the resources, but she still stayed. You know what I'm saying? So Kyle says, this is the thing. I feel like sometimes you choose people and they just want to swoop you up, and not everybody is nice to you, is nice to be in a relationship with. So this kind of makes me feel like this is a pattern of behavior with Kim, that she's been in this pattern before, and that she's looking for this like knight in shining armor who sweeps her off her feet, but then they become controlling and abusive. So Kim's like, he's the kind of guy that when it's bedtime, the lights are out. It's not all my way. He's the boss. Yeah, babe, we know. And Kyle says, it seems like Ken is a little obsessed with my sister and very controlling. And I know Kim wants me to like him, but this info that she's telling me isn't helping. So Kim goes, this is not what I had in mind at all. And Kyle says, well, it's a big adjustment for everybody. And you just like kind of sprung it on us without letting us, sort of ease into it. And you say, oh, look how happy I am. I'm moving in with him. And Kim was like, well, I just wanted for us to have time to work on it, for just he and I. And I'm used to having all of my kids all of the time. And now that they come over, I give them all of my time. And he's like, well, what about me? But I'm used to giving my kids all my time. And she's like, I've been alone for 18 years. No, you haven't. What about Kimberly's father? Give me a break. I'm tired of walking into places alone, sleeping alone. And Kyle's like, your kids are going to have to stick by you no matter what. And so Kim was like, maybe you can help me. Okay. These people are also freaking manipulative of each other. Kim knew that Kyle was filming at this place because the way it happened was Kyle went out to her car to get her credit card so they could buy whatever they were buying. And then she's like, oh, look who I found. Kim knew she was filming at this place. Everybody gets a call sheet. Everybody knows where everybody's going to be. It's, they coordinated, okay? Because they have to have a crew here with these people and a crew here with these people. And if, you know what I'm saying? Like they only have so many cameraman and boom mic people. So they have to coordinate that. So they get a call sheet and they're like on, May 7th, Estelle and Kyle go shopping, or whatever it is. And so Kim knew she was going to be here. Kim knows her daughters do not like her boyfriend. And so now she's going to try to recruit Kyle to help her convince her children to like Ken. That's all this conversation was. It's so manipulative and backstabby. All of these people are all manipulating each other. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But that's the end of the episode. So we have one more, and this is the white party, and this is a big one. So we will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening. Always remember a rating and review would be so super helpful. And subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.